Welcome to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Andi.
And I'm Felice, and we are coming to you from Key West, Florida.
So we just got back from a little spooky outing that we talk about in another episode. But when we were there, I first got there and Felice said, "Hey, how was your day?" And I said, "I survived."
That's how it be sometimes when you got little kids.
It was definitely one of those days. Today, amongst other things, I told my son, "We do not put handcuffs on anyone."
Oh my gosh, as a parent, I think you find yourself saying things that you would never say.
Exactly.
You know, like you never thought you'd say.
Yeah. So I said that to him and he's like, "It was just her leg." Meanwhile, my daughter's like, "He handcuffed my legs together and I couldn't walk."
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
And I said, "We don't put handcuffs on people ever. Not on their hands, not on their arms, not on their legs, nowhere." I guess unless that's your thing. But
some people do.
Yeah.
Not judging as long as it's consensual.
Right. But when you're 4, then no.
That's true. Yes.
But yeah, like you said, there are just some things that pop up that you never thought or pictured yourself saying. You know, when you're holding that sweet little baby, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be magical."
Next thing you know, you're like, "Don't put that plastic bag on your baby brother's head." We don't do that.
We don't do that here. Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
So also, somehow today, I don't even remember how this got brought up, but furries, the topic of furries came.
Yes.
And I said, "Oh my gosh, I have to tell you."
Okay.
But so recently I was in Pennsylvania and then flying back. And so I was with my whole fam and my husband had to do something with checking in bags and stuff. He's like, "Go ahead, take the kids, go through security, blah, blah, blah." So I go through security and there's a man who is holding a furry head that they pulled out of line for some extra screening and stuff. And then I remembered, ding, ding, there was a furry convention in Pittsburgh and it's one of the biggest ones.
Really?
And so people come from all over. So I couldn't wait to tell Ryan about this guy and this giant furry head that he was carrying.
Yeah.
And so we get through security, we go to the gate. I'm waiting for him. I'm like, "Please," I told the airline people, like, "Hey, my husband's on the way." And they're like, "Well, he has 8 minutes to get here before we close the gate." So I'm like, hurry, And so he finally gets on the plane and I said to him, "Where were you? What was going on?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I got stuck behind this group of people who were all furries and they all had furry heads that they were carrying." Gosh. And apparently people spend thousands of dollars on these heads and costumes and outfits or whatever the proper term for them is. And if you're a furry, you can let us know more about this secret life of furries. Details. But anyway, so he got stuck behind all of these people who were all carrying these heads.
Whoa.
And he said security took forever.
They're like, "What do you got in there?"
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, that's so funny.
So that was that. So yeah, if you have any furry experiences, share them. We need to learn more.
Sure. We are not informed on that topic.
No, definitely not experts on that or really much of anything. That's true.
True. Valid.
But if you haven't experienced the incredible fun that is the You Two Scare Me podcast before, welcome.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
For sure. We are 2 fabulous friends with a love for spooky stories and exploring the paranormal. We love to talk about haunted happenings, ghosts, cryptids, and the spookiest of legends.
Yes, but we have a deep respect for all of the unknown forces at work around us. We hope to bring you stories that make you wonder, give you a fright, and hopefully laugh with us a lot along the way.
The stories are all true,
as far as we know. We are so excited to share with you stories in our latest collection.
Woohoo!
These spooky stories come from our home states of Texas for me, Pennsylvania for Andi. And Andi, this is your first PA story.
Woohoo! I'm so excited to share it with you. So Pennsylvania is definitely full of haunted places, ghosties, legends, cryptids, and even reported UFO crashes.
Your favorite?
No, I'm so scared even saying that. I'm going to have to look out the window. Okay. So it was really hard with all of the spookiness for me to choose the topic for today.
Okay. Shall we find out about paranormal Pennsylvania?
Let's go. Dive into the shadows with us as we bring you haunting tales in this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast.
Shall we dive in?
So, before we dive into the spooky stories, let's do a quick 5-minute history dive.
Okay.
We're going to start in 1681. That's when King Charles II of England granted land to a Quaker named William Penn to settle a debt owed to his father. The land became Pennsylvania,
Okay.
which means Penn's Woods. And I learned about that in elementary school.
Oh, okay.
But this wasn't just another colony. Penn wanted it to be a holy experiment, a place for religious freedom, fair governance, and peaceful coexistence with native tribes like the Lenape. Philadelphia, which means city of brotherly love, became the heart of the colony and later a hub for revolution. Fast forward to the 1700s, and Pennsylvania is booming. It's doing its thing. It's diverse, it's prosperous, and it's a major player in political things in the colonies.
Yeah.
And then 1776 hits. Philadelphia becomes the birthplace of American democracy. The Declaration of Independence is signed there. Just a few years later, in 1787, the U.S. Constitution is drafted and signed at Independence Hall. Fast forward to the 19th century, and Pennsylvania becomes an industrial titan. Coal, iron, steel, and railroads come to define the state, especially in places like Pittsburgh, which earns the nickname Steel City. This is the good part of the state.
Yes. I was wondering when we were going to talk about that. Okay.
So I am from Western Pennsylvania. And as somebody who went to Penn State University, there was a divide between the western part and the eastern part. So people, once they found out you were from Pennsylvania, they would say Pittsburgh or Philly. Mm-hmm. And those are your choices.
Yes.
So yes. Choose wisely.
Oh, I've already chosen.
Thank you. And that love for your part of the state runs deep. You know, in Pittsburgh, it is all about the black and gold, and you support your teams. Yes. It's a whole vibe.
One thing you may not know about Andi and I, we love football. Woo-hoo! And we have our teams.
Oh, yeah.
And we do fantasy football.
Yes. And you're going to lose this year.
Well, I usually do. But I try my hardest.
That's all that counts. Yes. Okay. Back to Pennsylvania. We just talked about the super awesome city of Pittsburgh. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the history. Fun fact, Civil War.
Civil War never stops being fun fact. It's so cheerful.
So, one of the most pivotal and famous and the bloodiest battle of the Civil War happened at Gettysburg.
Right.
And so Gettysburg is in more the central part of the state, a little further to the east. That was in 1863. And then also in Gettysburg, President Lincoln gave his Gettysburg Address. In the 20th century, Pennsylvania's economy evolved again through war, industry, and innovation. But it wasn't without struggle. Cities faced economic decline post-World War II, and tragedies like the 3 Mile Island nuclear incident leave their mark. Yet, through it all, Pennsylvania remains resilient, balancing tradition with transformation. Today, Pennsylvania's nickname is the Keystone State, and it's said that it earned that nickname because of its role in the founding of the United States. In Pennsylvania, you'll find Amish farms, tech startups, Hershey Chocolate Factory, and Philly cheesesteaks, and in Pittsburgh, lots of pierogies.
Ooh, delicious.
It is a state with deep roots, a dynamic future, and plenty of spooky stories.
Oh.
So,
I've actually heard that there's a lot in Pennsylvania.
So much. Yes. But today, we are diving into the story of a ghost town called Livermore. This place is not too far from where I grew up, and it has a lot of spooky lore surrounding it. As teenagers, we all drove out Route 22, took the exit, and we drove along a small, unpaved road surrounded by woods.
Yeah.
It leads, down there a little bit, stopping at a gate that has a big keep out sign on it. No joke.
Another example of teenagers doing dumb stuff. We've all been there.
I mean, So the road, the gate, the sign, the woods, they're already spooky.
Mm-hmm.
But Livermore can be tied to a variety of paranormal activities.
Wait, so keep out of the whole town? Or
So
keep out of...
it's kind of keep out of this space. That road is, I guess, private, perhaps.
Details.
There's some things. But that's just how you know you've arrived. And then you get out, go through the gate and walk around there.
Yeah, got you.
So these paranormal activities include a witch's curse, ghost trains, restless spirits, and phantom guardians.
Ooh.
Let's do a little more walk along the history line. Livermore, Pennsylvania was a town founded in 1827 along the Conemaugh River by John Livermore. It grew as a part of the Pennsylvania Canal was constructed past it along the river. In 1854, the West Penn Railroad was extended past Livermore, with a station eventually being added in 1864. So, it seemed like Livermore was on the up and up. But then, the floodwaters came. On May 31st, 1889, 50 miles away from Livermore, the devastating Johnstown flood occurred. It claimed over 2,000 lives, and its effects were felt in Livermore because Livermore also flooded. Livermore was rebuilt, but it was the start of a pattern of flooding and decline. In March 1936, the infamous St. Patrick's Day flood occurred. The area had been experiencing severe cold, and it said that the ground was frozen to a depth of 4 feet.
Wow.
So, when the ground's that frozen, water can't really sink in.
Yeah.
When the river became flooded as a result of heavy rainfall and melting snow and ice, the water had nowhere to go. Over 18 feet of water inundated the town, causing residents to evacuate via rowboats, destroying the town, but luckily claiming only 1 life.
Wow.
Damage across the region totaled nearly $500 million in today's money. So for Livermore, that was the final blow.
Yeah.
Soon after, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers constructed the Conemaugh Dam, creating a reservoir that would permanently submerge the town and protect the lower Conemaugh Valley. So by 1952, Livermore was gone. But some believe the destruction wasn't all natural. Local legends say a woman was accused of witchcraft and executed by townspeople on the land in the late 1700s.
Ooh.
It's said that before her execution by her fellow townspeople, she placed a curse upon the town. Her curse was this: that the town would flood on the anniversary of her death until it was consumed by water. Allegedly, the Johnstown flood of 1889 occurred 100 years after her death, near that anniversary.
Wow. She called it.
Right? I mean, that's a long-term curse there.
Nailed it.
When exploring the area today, some witnesses have reported that perhaps the woman, the supposed witch, never left. They claim to hear a woman's voice or a cry that's carried on the wind. There's even reports of hearing a woman chanting in the woods when no one is there.
That is spooky.
This is giving me like Blair Witch vibes.
Yes.
Some of the more unsettling accounts include seeing the hunched figure of a woman making her way through the woods, while others claim to see a hag that disappears.
Wow.
So, due to this spooky activity and the bad luck and more, some people even call the area near Livermore Satan's Seat.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Let's get a little less spooky. One of the less spooky and more protective spirits that is seen is a Native American man that one psychic medium referred to as the Monongahelian. So the Monongahelian people were native people that inhabited the area from 1050 to 1635.
Wow.
So there's some debate about what actually happened to them. They left before the white settlers arrived. But
Okay.
I mean, they were on this land for centuries.
Right. Way longer than we've been a nation.
Absolutely.
So far.
Yeah. So this spirit is described as being handsome, with a chiseled face, long black hair, dressed in buckskin, wearing a shell necklace. He's seen standing silently near the trails overlooking the flooded town of Livermore or wandering through the nearby area. It's said that he is a guardian or a protective spirit of the land. So I like the feel of that.
Yeah.
That doesn't spook me too much. But not all the spirits are so benign. Many hikers report seeing a hunched creature with glowing red eyes that seems unnaturally large. Skunk ape, is that you?
Ooh.
No. People say that it's not really skunk ape's cousin. They actually say it's more of a demonic figure.
Ooh.
It's been spotted near the trail, watching from the darkness. It's said that it will follow closely behind visitors, occasionally making a snarling sound. No, thank you. Yeah,
I don't like that.
That's really spooky. And then there's the ghost train. So remember that the railroad went right past Livermore, and then eventually they put a station there in 1864. So in the stillness of night, some visitors say they see a green glow rushing along where the train tracks used to run. There's no sound of an engine, just a silent presence.
Ooh.
Others report seeing something that looks more like a headlight that closes in and then disappears.
Oh my gosh.
Finally, some of the strangest encounters happen in the one place from Livermore that remains above ground. The cemetery. The cemetery has always been in its current spot, perched on higher ground above where the town and the railroad track ran. There are some legends that they had to relocate the cemetery when the floods came and bodies were displaced and things like that. But that is more just spooky
Legend.
stories. Yeah, legend, not fact. The cemetery's always been in this spot. So the cemetery is still accessible, although through the years it's been heavily vandalized.
Oh, that's sad.
That always makes me sad.
Yeah,
and
it's so
it's pretty
disrespectful.
small too.
Yeah.
Still, many who visit describe eerily specific phenomena. The cemetery and the sunken town of Livermore are located along the West Penn Trail, which is a hiking trail. Many hikers, families, and weirdos like us will visit the trail and the cemetery because it really is kind of beautiful. One man claimed that his dog refused to step onto the grounds of the cemetery, growling at empty air. Another visitor said that their camera malfunctioned repeatedly, only capturing black voids until they left the cemetery.
Ooh.
People report unexplainable cold spots even in the summer, dogs behaving strangely, flashlights shorting out, and strong sulfur smells like rotten eggs with no visible source.
That's never good.
No. In case you don't know, that's usually said to be a demonic sign.
Yeah. Dark energy.
Yeah. There are other claims of flashlights that flicker, and hikers often report hearing phantom footsteps pacing behind them, only to find nothing when they turn around. There was a group of teens who posted online that when they were out there, they were pelted with small stones thrown from the darkness, though they were completely alone.
Oh my gosh. They're like, get out of here, you dumb kids.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Take your shenanigans elsewhere. However, most of the claims are a feeling of being watched the whole time you're there. People say that it is silent and still, even if you can see the breeze blowing elsewhere.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so scary.
So I went there as a teenager many years ago, and what I remember the most was the stillness, the quiet.
Yes.
It's already unsettling because there's a town submerged under this water that you're looking at, but it's just got a very weird vibe. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers erased Livermore's structures and the town, but they couldn't erase its history, its draw, and maybe its energy. To this day, when you go, remnants of the chimneys can occasionally be seen popping up out of the water when the water is low.
Oh, wow.
It is very eerie to see.
That is crazy. So is it a lake?
It's a reservoir. So it essentially is like a lake.
But do people do anything on the lake? Like no boats or anything on the lake?
No. It's not like a go on vacation on the lake kind of thing.
Because I think there's a lake in Georgia that is that. It was a town and it is submerged.
Oh, interesting.
And it's like spooky things happen there.
Oh, although I did see, I think some people, take kayaks out and things like that, but it's not really.
It's not like a recreational.
No, it's
place.
not a big draw like that. So, Felice, if you dare, you could go get your fitness on the West Penn Trail.
That's probably not going to happen. I'm an indoor person. An indoor cat.
You could stand on the bridge looking at the remains of the town below, maybe catch a glimpse of the chimneys, or visit the unnaturally still and quiet cemetery. Just remember, go with respect and never go alone after dark.
Don't worry. I would never. You know this about me. Ooh, oh my gosh. What a good start for Pennsylvania.
It just was near and dear to my heart because I vividly remember the day I went there, and just the feeling and I don't know why this image is burned into my head of seeing the tops of the things poking out of the water, but it was just very creepy.
It is very creepy. I mean, that's like people's whole lives and livelihoods, their histories down there submerged.
Right. So weird.
So cool. Thank you very much for that story. I'm excited to hear more.
Welcome to Pennsylvania.
Yes. Well, it is time for Somebody Told Me.
Oh, yay.
This is the portion of the show where we share stories from our listeners. That's right, you. Send in those stories. You can email them to us, DM us on social media, or go to our website and fill out the contact form. We're not picky. Go wherever. Also, it doesn't have to be long or it could be anything. So don't be scared or think that, I don't have a great story or whatever.
Right. And you don't have to be a stellar storyteller with a verbose, kind of thing. Don't worry about that. We just love hearing your experiences and getting to share them. So even if you have something tiny, we can always pair it up with other little tiny stories.
Yep. Absolutely.
And of course, we'll comment and laugh in our own weird way.
Yes. All right. So today's story is from Brian. And Brian actually told me this story in person and I took notes. And so I'm retelling it. So it's not in his words. It's kind of in my words, but it's his story. Brian and his family were on a tour of the Sherwood Forest Plantation in Charles City, Virginia. Have you ever been there?
No, I don't think so.
They were on a tour and he was sort of at the back of the group. Most of the group went into the plantation ballroom, but he was sort of stuck at the back and kind of peeking into a doorway. You know how it is when you're with a group and you're on a tour and the people in the front don't go all the way in the room. And so you're like stuck in the doorway.
Right.
It was kind of like that. And PSA, if you're that person, go ahead and go all the way into the room so everyone can fit in there.
Move it along.
Move it along. So he couldn't really see or hear what was going on. So he took that moment to have a seat on this stairwell. So it was a small staircase that went up a turret. And he just was, kind of hanging out there waiting for the people to sort of go in. As he was sitting there, he felt pressure on his shoulders, like something jumped on his back and squeezed around him.
What? It's a monkey?
Right? So he turned around, but nothing was there. When he turned back around, it happened again.
Oh.
He got up, spooked, and pushed past people into the ballroom. And the tour guide noticed him, and she was kind of like, "Sir, are you okay?" And he said, "Yes," but he definitely looked spooked. So the tour guide got everyone moving, kind of finished that little portion of the tour, and then came to him and said, "Sir, are you sure you're okay?" And he said he was fine. But then she said, "Did you experience something on that staircase?"
Oh.
He told her, yeah, I actually did. She said that it might have been the gray lady who was evidently a governess who used to work there, or a little girl who died in that turret past the staircase. So she got sick and the governess took care of her. And so I don't know if they both passed there, but she definitely died in that building, in that room. People have been known to feel their presence in that staircase. And the lady actually, so the tour guide asked him if it felt like a kid was jumping on his back, like a piggyback, like he was giving her, or like asking for a piggyback ride. And he said, yes, that's exactly what it felt like.
Oh,
isn't that crazy? He had not heard anything about the story before that. I kind of got the feeling that do you know how sometimes the mom plans the trip and the dad's sort of like along for the ride, but maybe like not 100% dialed in?
Yeah. Yep. No, I don't know at all what you're talking about. That's so weird.
That's kind of the vibe that I got. So I didn't get the feeling that he really did a lot of research before he went and really kind of knew what he was getting into. He was just going on the thing and taking a moment on the staircase to rest his legs or whatever, you know? And so he didn't know anything about the people that lived there. He was not expecting that to happen. And so I think that it's really interesting that happened to him. And then the lady confirmed that with him, you know? He wanted me to make sure and let all of our listeners know that he's a science nerd. He does not normally believe in this stuff, but he couldn't deny that happened to him.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So that's our little story from Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Oh my gosh. Thanks, Brian. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was just that he was in the right place, or if there was something about him, you know, like dad energy.
Oh, maybe.
You know, that drew.
Yeah. He's like a teddy bear kind of guy, you know, so I could see that. Yeah.
You know, I always wonder why some people, especially people who may not be as open, experience things over other people when you're in a group setting like that. I always wonder, what is the determining factor? Yeah.
And also, I always think it's interesting when things like that happen, and there are a lot of people around. Yeah. It's not like, oh, you're on this ghost tour in the middle of the night and everything's dark and, you know, you're out there hunting for the ghost. He's just taking a break. There's a million other people around. And that happened.
Yeah. So that's so cool. Yeah. Thanks, Brian. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for listening to and downloading this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Have you checked out our website, you2scareme.com? You can find blog posts about our episodes, cool photos of us, and links to buy our sweet merch.
Sharing is caring, especially when it comes to spooky stuff. Pass us along to your paranormal loving pals.
And even those people who don't love the paranormal so much.
Yeah, maybe they will now.
You can also help us by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, and wherever you get your podcasts. It is most helpful to us when our listeners download the episodes.
And don't forget to check out our social media. Find us on Instagram at you2scareme_podcast or on our Facebook page, You2Scare Me. You can even follow us on TikTok. Just search You2Scare Me podcast. No spaces.
There's some great stuff on there. Remember to send us your own spooky stories for our Somebody Told Me segment at you2scaremepodcast@gmail.com. That's YOUTWO scare me podcast @gmail.com.
Thanks for wandering through the shadows with us.
Until next time, stay curious and beware what lurks beyond the light.